All right. Hey, everyone. Mark here, Mark P Markets. Thank you for joining me for another Bitcoin video analysis session. I took the previous week off. It allowed me to get some things done, and now we're picking it up from here. So we have a lot of interesting things to talk about here. Let me adjust this microphone. All right, you guys. Let me just. I am simulcasting, so let me just pull that up here so I can see what's going on over there in that chat. So by the way, if you're new to my stream, I want to welcome you and explain to you how this works real quick. So first things first, I'm going to review the economic calendar. All right. In fact, today I'm going to ask you guys if you guys are reviewing it so we can make sure we're getting on the right page in terms of what's important and what's not. Secondly, I'm going to go over the Bitcoin analysis. So we're going to go over the chart here, and we're going to talk about the particular level that I'm most interested in as a swing trade. I wrote about this in my article yesterday, and it's a key level. I don't care if the market runs away without me. I'm only interested in swing trades at that level. So we're going to talk about what that can look like so that you are better prepared if that trade opportunity decides to present itself. So that's the second thing. The third thing, I'm going to go over your questions. So if you have a question about a chart, whether it's an altcoin or a stock, please share it in the channel now so that I can get to it during the Q&A session. If it's an altcoin, please make sure to put USD or USDT after the symbol so that I get it correct. Okay. And TradingView people, if you're watching me from over there, do me a favor. If you can't see me, just refresh the browser, and that usually solves the problem over there. Okay. So now would be a good time to put your questions in the channel. And again, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch this. So let's get this thing started, shall we? Let me just pull up my slide here. All right. This is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. Let me know if my sound is okay or not. In case you guys can't hear me, let me say hello to my regulars. We got Alex from Romania. We got Kai. Good to see you. Raman, hello. All right. Good to see everyone. Why are all the penny stocks pumping? All right. Well, we'll talk about that. That's a good question, Alex. Yeah. By the way, I got an email from another guy from Romania. I guess I'm getting popular in Romania again. All right. Anyway, you guys. So let's go over the economic calendar. Hey, Gray, how are you? Good to see you from Shanghai. Am I correct? I think I remember. Prince, good to see you. All right. Good to see everyone. So again, let's get into the economic calendar first. By the way, I have some interesting things to say about the trade scanner. By the way, I'm going to turn this thing off. We don't need this here right now, the ATR. I want to ask Alex, since you have access. Alex, hey, Stian. Good to see you. Oh yeah, Prince. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Letting me know where you're from. In case for just a fun fact, if you want to share what country or what city you are from, that's always cool to hear. I am streaming from the greater New York City area, also known as Northern New Jersey. All right, not a cool place to be. All right, just saying. Anyway, so. Yeah, Steen or Alex, you guys have access to the trade scanner. Do me a favor. The most recent trade, I saw you guys talking about Cardano in the chat. Great job, you guys, first of all, I have to say. And second, Alex, great homework assignments. I mean, I haven't put comments in the channel yet, but I was looking at your charts. Nice job. Very nice job. You know, thank you for sharing that. So do me a favor, guys. Grab the recent Cardano, just grab the trade, the text from that trade, because I want to, and if you could just share it here, I want to talk about Cardano. And I saw a couple of other trades that were called on the long side, because the Cardano was a short, but the long side. Now, what I want you guys to do, Stian, okay. Oh, okay, Raman, I was going to say, don't share it in the channel yet, because I want to talk about the trade specifically. But so yeah, so do me a favor. Good. Cardano. Cool. Thank you, Stian. Thank you. So someone who has access, Raman or Alex or whoever, just copy the text, because I know it called 2 coins long. Okay. And I want to talk about those coins before I conclude the stream here. I want to share the trade idea specifically. All right. So Alex, okay, he put the Cardano trade. Right. So, and these guys, a lot of these guys took that trade. All right, the first one. Now, that's cool. And they were reporting in the channels that they were making some money with that. So I really like to see that. I really like that you guys are using that tool properly and that you guys are making money. That's why I built that thing. So, because I would, let me be honest. I don't trade Cardano myself, and I would never make a call like that. Okay, especially at like 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. Whatever. What's the timestamp on that thing? Like, look, 4:05. That's Eastern time. I believe that was 4:05 Eastern time, my time. I do need to sleep, so I would never have been able to make that call. That's why I built the scanner, so it can do that work. And if you understand what it's actually putting out, the notifications that it's putting out, that most of the work is being done for you. All you have to do now is manage the orders. And that's really the essence of the trade, is the orders, the order management, how you manage the risk in that trade, where to place to stop, where to place to take profit. Is it a day trade or a swing trade? You make those decisions, and that really translates into the greater probability if it's going to be a favorable outcome or not. I mean, all the trades don't work out. Okay, I'm going to be honest here. Some of them are losing trades, but the thing is, by managing those orders properly and moving your break even at the right time, which we've talked about in my student meetings and all that kind of stuff, you really increase your chances of that favorable outcome. By the way, breaking even is a favorable outcome because your risk is mitigated. All right, we'll talk about that. Anyway, yeah, so all the EU guys and all the people in Eastern Europe and all the people that are not in the New York time zone had some nice opportunities there. So my point is, the robot makes the calls, because otherwise you guys would have missed those trades, right? So anyway, nice job. I really like to see that, you guys. Nice job. So all right. So like I was saying, Raman, and whoever else, just copy the text for the. Obviously, Raman mentioned one of them, Litecoin, and there was another coin that I saw. And when I ask you guys, just paste in the channel. Before we conclude the stream, we're going to paste them in the channel so people can see. And I would encourage people to paper trade just to see the outcome. The outcome may not be a winning trade, but you get an idea of what the trade scanner is actually doing. And just to give you an idea, Stian, you're giving it away? Don't give it away. All right, but that's not the one. There was another one. All right, what are you guys putting in there? Yeah, don't give it away before. I want to share the trade idea before I conclude the stream, so people watch the stream. Otherwise, they're going to see it. Oh man, you guys don't follow. You guys don't listen, man. You guys, now they all see the answers, so now they're not going to wait. They're going to cut off at 35 minutes in. They're all going to cut off the stream because they got the answers. I want to keep people on the stream. But all right, thank you for sharing, you guys. Next time for the conclusion of the stream, okay? The conclusion when I ask for them. But thank you for your help, though. Thank you for putting those are the trade ideas. Anyway, and we'll look at them on the chart, and we'll talk about the order placement and all that kind of stuff. All right, for those who stick around to the conclusion. By the way, I try to keep this at an hour long. All right. Anyway, okay, cool, you guys, cool. Anyway, all right, cool. So let's get this thing started. First thing I want to ask you guys, and let me just jump over to TradingView. Hey, Miami, how are you? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a long time. Good to see you, Miami CEO. Things have changed in the community since you've been around, and you should definitely say, stop into the community and say hello, because there's quite a few things in there that you should see. Anyway, hey, Suzanne, how are you? Okay, there is a lot. Yes. Well, so Susan, I'm actually scheduling my student meeting for it's probably going to be week 3 of July, which is next week. And we can talk about that, or send me a private message on that. I was actually going to follow up with you and ask you how things have been going so far. The stock scanner is not the same as the coin scanner, right? So there's some adjustments you have to make to that, because it does produce lists of 20 stocks. The idea is to pick one. All right, so we'll talk about that. And there's also some other things you need to consider when it comes to a stock. Like, is there a quarterly report in a couple of days? You need to know those things. You can't just blindly jump into a stock, because there's a lot more risk in certain areas. So we can talk about that, especially during a student meeting. I want you guys to be really, and girls, to be really prepared to use this information, because obviously you saw in the other chats how some people are making some money with the coins, okay, with the calls on the coins. So anyway, all right. Okay. Hey, Dom, how are you? Good to see everyone. All right. We got the whole crew. Hey, no problem. No problem, Raman. So anyway, no, you guys put the stuff in there. We'll work with it. I really appreciate you guys helping me out with that. Okay. All right. So let's get into this. Economic calendar is the first thing I want to talk about. All right. Now, you guys who are so prepared to put stuff in the channel, tell me what is going on this week that we should pay attention to. Students, feel free to come out with what you think is most important. This is the reason why I run it like this instead of me just always coming out with it, is because it goes in one ear and right out the other. By forcing you to look up the information and put it into the channel, not only are you putting something out there that's going to get judged, but now you're going to remember, oh, this is not that important. And you're not going to look at it again next time, right? Because a lot of the information on the economic calendar is not really that relevant, especially if you're working on smaller time frames. But there are certain reports that we should pay close attention to, and we should check every Monday for these reports. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Alex says CPI. Now, can you also put the date and the time that this report is coming out? Because that's also important to know. So CPI, when is that coming out? What country? I'm assuming it's US, because any other country, doesn't really matter. And I'm not just saying that it's because we have the world reserve currency still. When I checked, we still were the world reserve currency. So certain economic reports are going to carry a lot of weight. All right. For example, the week before we had what? Non-farm payrolls on Fridays. Right. Now, it's not the report itself that matters. What matters is the outcome, how the price action processes that information. That is what is most important. Okay. And the key time when the report comes out is not the time of the report or after the report. That's going to be important if you day trade. But the key piece of information that I look for on something like that is how the day finishes or closes. So Friday, 4 o'clock, that is all I'm interested in on NFP Friday. I want to see how it all played out and how the market feels by the close of the day. That carries a lot of information, right? When it comes to something like NFP, not the report itself. Don't get mixed up in that nonsense. Okay. So Wednesday, CPI, 8:30 Eastern time. Thank you, guys. And you guys are correct. That is an important report. The CPI is an important inflationary report, which affects other things. So the market can change dramatically. That is why we need to be prepared for these situations. Whether you're in Forex, whether you're in a coin, no matter what you're in, a stock, it can get affected if there are any surprises. CPI is a closely watched number. Anything else? Thank you, Alex. July 12, CPI, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Thank you, Raman. Okay. Any other reports? That's certainly a report to keep an eye on. Are there any other reports that you guys would like to share with me that we should be paying attention to? Because again, sometimes you'll see things like, durable goods, blah, blah, blah. You'll see all these other things. The ECB president is speaking. It's not that important usually it's not that important. The only Fed banker person that you should be paying attention to is Chairman Powell, because again, world reserve currency. And if he leaves any hints about interest rates, that's what you want to pay closest attention to. So Chairman Powell testimonies, FOMC meetings, interest rate decisions. Now, other countries also have interest rate decisions. If you're in a Forex pair, like, for example, the pound or the Aussie dollar, whatever it is, and the bank has an interest rate decision, it may affect the pair, but usually it's dollar-based, okay? Just to keep that in mind. Let's see, we have GDP, Stian. Okay, here we go. Month over month on July 13. That's what? Tomorrow. So the 12th is Wednesday, 13th is on Thursday. GDP month over month. I am glad you mentioned that. It's not that important. GDP is basically like it's lagging, right? So usually the information is processed when, through CPI or through some other reports. They're able to basically, like, GDP is sort of expected, right? So I wouldn't make a big deal out of that one. Oh, for the UK, even less important. So that's why I'm glad you bring that up, because people may think, oh, GDP must be important. No. So anything else we should know about? And thank you, guys. In fact, here, look, so I'm going to put these guys up. I'm going to put this up so you guys can see. So Raman's telling us CPI Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern time. All right. Stian tells us about GDP, and this is UK GDP. So not that important. Please take a look. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Alex. PPI month over month. When is that? So give me the date and the time. PPI. Now that's not the same as CPI. All right. He's telling us PPI month over month. When is that? Date, time. Can you give us that information? And I'm telling you right now, not that important. Okay. So don't worry about that stuff. So the only key one that we have this week, and I would agree, is the CPI report on Wednesday at 8:30. All right. The reason why I talk about all this other stuff is because you should be familiar with it. All right. So when you're looking at the economic calendar on your own, you are not confused. Okay. Let's move along and let's get into some Bitcoin analysis, shall we? While Stian is giving us that information. Let's talk about this situation. Now, many of you hopefully read my article that I wrote on TradingView. All right, let me put my TradingView people over here so I can see what you guys are saying. All right, hold on a second. All right, hopefully you read the article that I published yesterday, and I talked about some key levels. Let's talk about that. Now, here's the thing, especially when I train my students with this stuff, and I'm going to mix in some trade scanner stuff in here as well. But when it comes to trying to gauge probabilities, because that is what we're doing here. We're not forecasting the future, as many would like you to believe. You can't forecast the future, right? No one knows. There's no way to know where the market will be in a month or in 3 weeks and all that nonsense. We can gauge the probability of a particular outcome the closer we are, right, in time. So like an hour out, a day out, a couple of days out. That's more probable. And all we're trying to do is gauge, is this likely to go higher or lower, right? And what can we assign a probability to that? Now, I have to do this in an anecdotal type of way. I'm not an engineer. I don't have a mathematical way to do this, but the concept is mathematical. Now, the point that I'm trying to make is you need to be aware of what the higher probability levels are so that we can wait for a particular situation. Now, when I speak of the Bitcoin trade, let me make the chart bigger here. Let me make the chart bigger. Okay, thanks, Stian. Let me make this chart bigger so we can see what I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. So when you're looking at, you have to take basically certain variables, right? And this is what I train my students and a lot of people don't appreciate this in the beginning. But you have to understand everything in the context of the broader trend. Context only comes from the bigger picture. So don't get mixed up with your 5-minute charts. I mean, well, context is bullish. What time frame, right? So the daily time frame carries a lot of weight, and that's where I get my context from. Bitcoin is in a bullish trend. By the way, my trade scanner gets its sense of trend from the same time frame. It looks at the bigger picture first, okay? And then what it does is it looks for momentum reversals on smaller time frames on the side of the trend. And then when everything matches up and the criteria for the momentum reversal is in play, it sends out the text notification, right? So with Bitcoin, this situation that we have right here, right? You see this rectangle, this blue square that I drew on the chart? This right here is our swing trade support. If you're interested in swing trades, I'm very specific about that because day trades are another story. As you can see, Bitcoin is trying to make a move here right now. I drew this squiggly line on my chart because what I explained about this is I want to see the retrace into this support level if I'm going to take a swing trade long. Why? This is the 29.5 to 28 even, basically 29.5 to 28 even support zone. And it's based on this price action back here. This is basically what it says, or what it tells me, is that you have a lot of people that are caught short in this area and that would be happy to go long. All right. Also, buyers like me who are waiting for better prices would be more interested in this area. This area also coincides with the 382 retracement. I'm not going to talk about that, but my students know what I'm talking about. And this is a place where I can assess that there's a high probability that the next move out of this area is likely to be a long with decent potential. All right. And when I say decent potential, I'm talking about swing trade potential. So there's no precision in this game. I don't know if we're going to pull back. We may not pull back into here. The question is, if we pull back, then I have a swing trade opportunity. What if we never pull back? Well, there are day trade opportunities, but the expectations are not the same for that. So for a swing trade, and for a swing trade with decent potential, meaning on the swing trade time frame, you're talking 1,000, 1,500, maybe 2,000 points. That's a swing trade. That's not a day trade, right? The potential for that type of trade starts at this location. Locations carry probabilities with them, and that is what you need to understand and assign. So it's either we get that opportunity or we don't. All right. The other thing is, if we do test this area, we don't just step in front of it. As my students know this, but if you're not a student, you don't know this. You don't just put an order in just because, oh, we're at 28.5, I'm just going to put my order in. You don't do that. That's high risk. The market may break that area, which would give us a new piece of information, and we have to adjust. If there's any skill in this game, that is the skill. Adjusting to new information, not forecasting the market, not trying to squeeze out the most out of your trade. That's all nonsense that they feed retail traders. All right. So that is the level. This area, this zone is the level. And if we don't get there, then I want to explain the day trade part of this. All right. Now, you can't, this is on its, whatever's going on here, I don't react to this. I don't care. All I know is we're coming off of this minus support. You know, the trade scanner just missed, I was looking at the trade scanner chart, and it has its own chart, and it just missed this trade. All right, but I want to show you something. This is one of the time frames that the trade scanner looks at, all right, the 4-hour chart. And what I want to point out in these situations where the broader trend maintains a bullish structure like we've been seeing, the trade scanner called numerous trades in here. I think it called like 4 trades. I believe it called like one around here. It called one in here somewhere. Okay, I think it called one. I don't remember the exact prices, but I know it was calling trades in these areas, and a number of people were reporting that they took them. Now, the thing is, on this time frame, because of the level, and I warned everyone about this, this is why my members had the ability to adjust their expectations and not expect 3,000 points, but instead expected resistance to continue to stick, right, in the 31K area, because they're aware that this is a low probability area for swing trades. So I tell people, if you want to take a trade, small expectations. They're all able to set their take profits and take money off the table when it starts tapping into this area up in here. They're not sitting there looking for more. And by the way, up in here, this is where all the fake gurus usually tell you to get in, and they usually tell you it's the move is just getting started. And this is where all the sheep pile in. Okay, all the people that are going to get fleeced and basically let my members out for a profit. That's who buy up here. Okay, not professionals. Morons buy up here. So please don't be a moron. So my point is, because this time frame, because this level, this general area is a resistance, we can't expect much from it. So if you're long, right, my scanner has not called this move right here. It missed this one because it was not lining up, but it called some other coins, right, which we're going to talk about in a moment. The point is, like, if you're long something like this, you should be setting your take profits in this area, okay, as a day trade, and keep your expectations within reason. Now, it may break out, but the thing is, we don't know if it'll break out. There's no way to know. If you want to give it a chance to break out, all right, well, you're on the side of the broader trend, but I would not really have high expectations of that. That's why it's wise to maybe take something off the table and then let some ride if you want to be more aggressive. That's all about trade management. That has nothing to do with analysis. The next level on this thing is 33K. All right. If it can successfully break out of 31K, we're looking at 33K. That's the next area of resistance. That's historical resistance. So here's another mistake that I want to point out, right? This thing may break out. Structure favors the breakout. People pile in. What gives this thing momentum or not are the shorts that are all shorting this thing right now because they think they know better. This is not a place to short. Although it's a resistance, the problem is it's a counter trend trade. And one thing you need to realize, let's go back to the daily time frame. One thing you need to realize about support and resistance levels is that resistance levels are rejected quickly. Price does not linger at resistance levels. This is a resistance level. It's rejecting it, but it finds support just slightly lower, and it has this consolidation. Weakness asserts itself. True weakness looks like this. Okay, it asserts itself, and you get a harsh sell-off. Okay, when you don't get that harsh sell-off, and instead you get this bullish type candle, no one's selling. Okay, that's an absence of selling, which can be interpreted as a sign of strength. I talk about this in my article. So that increases the chance of the breakout following through. So you have people shorting up in here thinking they're all big and bad. You know, they followed some fraud who told, oh, it's a short. It's not a short. It's a high risk short. All right. Just because there's a little hesitation here, this typical sign is a typical sign of strength when it lingers at a resistance within a broader bullish trend. This is not a bearish trend. It's bullish. So if it clears, right, and you go for that breakout, right, you get into that, just realize what you're getting into. Don't swing trade that. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's high risk to swing trade it. If you're going to go for the breakout, go for a day trade. That mitigates your risk in case this thing fails, because there's a higher probability here, right? There is always a higher probability up in those areas that you can get that failure. And you don't want to get caught in that. If you stay in that and this thing really pulls back, that's when you open up your risk to ridiculous levels, which is just not necessary. That's why you have to keep your day trades, and your swing trades, swing trades. The risk parameters must be separate. Let me know if you have any questions about that. So again, just to reiterate, my key level on Bitcoin, right, is this 29 to 28.5 area for a high probability swing trade long. I am not interested otherwise in swing trades. I'm not going to short it. I'm not going to take a long here and then think, that it's going to go up here just because I feel like it, right? I don't make mistakes like that. If I'm going to get involved at all, it will be a day trade, because these are less than ideal levels. I don't like buying into resistance levels. So my expectations are kept low purposely. Now, how do you decide, take profits and stop loss? Well, we talked about that with the ATR. That's why I have the ATR on my chart. All right. Like that's why I took it off right now, but that's what I use this thing for. All right. The ATR gives me a quick, oh, that's too big. I don't want to see it like that. It gives me a quick reference point that allows me to set the orders very quickly without having to get all caught up and confused with analysis. That's why I showed people that shortcut. You can see that in my student videos. And I made a video on YouTube. You can look back to it. It's on there somewhere. Okay. Oh man, hold on, you guys. Let me put the chart back up. All right. So yeah, so that's where we are with that. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me review the chat here. Let me see what's going on here. Okay. So yeah. Oh, so Suzanne, you have to refresh the on TradingView. By the way, people on TradingView and on YouTube, if you like my stream and you like my content, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. I mean, the numbers on YouTube are just horrendous. Please subscribe to the channel. Like the video on TradingView. Press the boost button. Do me a favor. It helps me get some more reach, I guess. Look, I can't help everyone, and most people won't listen to my message anyway, because as we all know, a retail trader is much more likely to pay $1,000 for a lie than pay $300 for something that's going to help them save thousands of dollars in the future. That's just human nature. That's just the way things work, and I can't change that. Okay. Anyway, someone has to take the other side of our trades. There are always a market mechanism, like an exchange, is basically a mechanism for the informed to take money away from the uninformed, or basically the uninformed to exchange their wealth to the informed, right? Transfer wealth to the informed. That's how markets work. That's not something I made up. Anyway, all right, you guys, let me go over here on TradingView, see what's going on. What are you guys saying over here? All right, so okay, Dracor, good to see you. All right, Miami. Yeah, Miami, like I was saying, reach out to me, man. Okay, Milad, how are you? Good to see you, Milad. My one New Yorker. All right. Okay. Hey, from Brussels. All right, cool. Welcome. What do you think of UNI USDT? Okay, cool. We're going to get into that in a moment. It's very easy to follow and helpful. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Suzanne. Good. And she's, she's relatively new. She just joined the community, so she's just seeing this stuff for the first time. I appreciate that. Okay, cool. PPI and unemployment on Thursday. So that unemployment is not the same as the non-farm payrolls, which is the main one. That's non-farm payrolls, by the way, is the first Friday of every month. Miami, can you elaborate on why this is considered bullish structure? Sure. And what is contributing to that? Is it still tied very much to the NASDAQ? Okay, so sorry I'm tuning back in after. Okay, no problem, Miami. By the way, I love Miami. And all the cool people are in Miami, by the way. They're not in New Jersey. So, all right, so that's a good question. What is the scanner? All right, I'll get the scan. My trade scanner is a text notification system that's in my Discord community. It comes out on my text channels. Okay, they're premium channels, so all members have access to these channels. And basically, it's a trend-based momentum reversal system, and it produces text notifications which give you a trade idea, which I'm going to review here in a moment because a bunch of people, they put the signals in the chat here on YouTube, and I'm going to pop them up on the screen so we can take a look. All right. All right. So let me answer some questions first. I'm going to jump around here. I know I'm a little bit all over the place today, a little bit all over the place, but I'm just getting back into the swing of things as far as streams go. All right. So, all right. First things first. All right. So before here, let me do this. Before I jump into your questions, in Miami, that's a good question. Let me just do this first. I want to go back. Right. I'm going back to my YouTube chat here, and I'm going to go back, and I want to pull this up. Okay, I want to pull this up. So speaking of Trade Scanner, this is what the Trade Scanner text looks like. And it pops out. I have two channels. There's a cryptocurrency channel and there's a stock channel. Okay. And once the criteria is met, this is what the text looks like. Now, this, as you can see, it's a recent text. The date on this thing is 7/9. All right. That was yesterday. 4:05. So that's Eastern time. That's AM. Okay. And it said bearish momentum reversal coins, and this is the coin ADA, and it called it short. Now, it's calling, my trade scanner right now is calling altcoins short, and it's calling Bitcoin and the main coins long. So there's a little conflict there. Which one do you believe, or which one should you follow more? Well, Bitcoin is always the leader. So that means these altcoins are relatively weak, number one. All right. Number two, it doesn't mean that the trade won't work, because people obviously made money in that Cardano trade. The thing is, you have to realize that if you're fighting the bigger picture, or you're fighting the leader, like in this case, and the leader rallies like this, those trades are going to be very low potential. So you have to be very quick about them. And that's why I tell people, think in terms of day trade. All right. So let's pull Cardano up here. All right. US. And let's take a look at Cardano. Here, I'll go to Bitfinex. Okay. And we're going to go to, man, is that right? That's not right. ADA US. No, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Like Cardano doesn't look like that. Okay, hold on. Here it is. Binance. All right. So we'll take a look at Binance. All right. Now, it's been calling this thing short, and along with a few other altcoins. This is the daily chart. Let's go to the 4-hour chart, because when it calls such a position, this is what you have to look at. Look what it's doing right now. I just described this. I said it's calling it short while Bitcoin is basically a long. So when you have that conflict, I mean, these guys, obviously, they caught some profit. I believe it was in this area. What's the price on that? Let's see, 28.9. Where is that? That's around here, right? The low is 29. So 28.9 is basically up in here somewhere. Okay, right around there. Let me draw a line in that area. This is 28.9. Okay, that's where it called Cardano short yesterday at that time. Look at this. I'm making it nice and big. Look at this trade. Now, people reported in my chat that they made money off of this. I never would have called this trade, but look at the profit potential. This was the profit potential in that trade, what I drew inside the square over here. You see that? So it went from basically 28.9 to, what is this here low? 27.8 or 27.278, right? 27.8. That's, and if you knew to set your take profit in a certain, you say, oh, after the fact, sure, you could say that. Well, no, before the fact, everyone went into this with the day trade mentality. They were not expecting much. And if you use the ATR the way I showed you, a lot of times that will allow you to put these orders in proportional locations. Even without the ATR method, even without that, you should have known that this would have been a good area to be looking for, right? An old support like this. And that comes from analysis. And my students know that, okay? So at least you would have had a reference point which was touched by this 4-hour candle over here. You see that? So just to give you an idea, that's the day trade mentality in play when you're using something like the trade scanner. The trade scanner was meant for swing trades, right? But now, because I warned people and I said, if you go for those trades, small expectations, because this can happen. I see this happen all the time, especially when your leader is bullish, okay? Bitcoin is bullish. So that means the bearish potential is not very good on these unless Bitcoin breaks, right? If Bitcoin breaks 28K, then these will perform on the short side. But until then, they're only good for a small bite. So my students, what I'm most impressed with is that they were not stuck in the perspective of greed. They looked at this in an objective way, and they were able to extract profit, and they increased their chance of a favorable outcome simply because they were able to shape their expectations properly. That is the best you can do. All right. So nice job, you guys. And thank you for sharing this trade, Alex. All right. So, and again, there are a couple of other trades that were called long, and I'm going to go over that in just a few minutes. All right. So let me just see what we have here. I'm going to start answering some people's questions. All right. So let's see. I'm going to start over here on TradingView because you guys have been waiting here for a while. Let me see what I have here. All right. So first one I have from Popular, UNI USDT. Let's take a look. UNI. Let's take a look. All right. Now, again, people, this is usually when people cut out because they're like, oh, this is boring. I don't want to see people's call. I don't want to see what people want to see. I'll tell you, this is actually probably one of the more valuable parts of the streams because sometimes you learn about things here you otherwise never would have known about because you don't follow these things. So let's pull up this UNI. UNI USDT. Let's pull that up first and let's see what's going on here. And let's first go to a weekly chart, right, to see our bigger picture. Notice I go to the weekly chart first. I don't sit there and look at smaller time frames. I want context. I want to know levels. I want to know trend. And Miami, to answer your question about trend, because I can tie that into this. Well, and we'll go back to that Bitcoin chart as well. But here's the thing, right? I'm looking at structure. The broader structure defines the trend. So what do I see here? Just going back, right? What do I see here going back? I mean, just zooming out a bit here on this UNI. First of all, this is a garbage coin. I can tell you without even knowing anything about it, it's a garbage coin. Most altcoins are. It gave back most of its run, right? So a lot of people got caught in this. What else is new? Probably a lot of hype from fake gurus. What else is new? So general structure is not bullish here. It's bearish. I have lower highs. Okay, another lower high resistance. Bullish markets take out resistance levels. Bearish markets do not. I don't see any resistances getting taken out here. Okay, and those are the ones that matter. These on the weekly. I have a support right here at what? Right, 405. So you can round that to 4 even. That's your support. Your nearest resistance is 939. You can round that to $10. So $4 is your support. $10 is your first major resistance that needs to be cleared. And that makes sense as a whole number. Now, so your general structure here is bearish. Now, another thing to keep in mind when it comes to altcoins, and this is more of an economic thing, and most people are not aware of this, you should be familiar with how interest rates affect the business cycle and how they affect highly speculative assets such as altcoins. All right, earlier, it was on Thursday or Friday, I put a little report out to the room saying that the bond market prices are going lower on the bond market and rates are rising. We've been in generally a rising rate environment. That is not good for these things. All right. So you need cheap money for these things to get anywhere. That's the first thing. If we don't have money cheapening, if we don't have bond prices rallying, you can forget these coins, right? If you go, oh, this is going to be the next big thing at some point. Some fake fraud told me that. No, interest rates determine how the world works. Okay. So just based on that context, this has very limited potential in that sense until I see rates turn around. Rates have not turned around. In fact, real quick, let's just take a quick look at the rates. All right, this is where I'm monitoring, right? The 10-year note. Look at this. So you can say, oh, the green candle today. Well, the week just started, so this doesn't mean anything. This is a weekly chart of the 10-year note. We're sitting at a major support. That's an inside bar. If we close out the week like this, bonds move very slow, by the way. We close out the week looking like that, and we take out that low next week, that's a bearish sign for bond prices, which means rates are still on their way higher. Bonds trade in the free market. Interest rates are not just determined by the Fed. They are determined by a free market to a point, right? We start taking out these lows, 108s, whatever they are on the bonds, that means rates are now starting to push into an area. If rates start pushing into an area like this, that means we're now getting into an uncomfortable area. The market has been very comfortable with this area right here, right? The market has seen it before. That's why you see, the stock market doing well. And, oh, the stock market's doing great. Not really, okay? A lot of it is fake. A lot of it is coming from the Treasury Department and how they use these loan facilities to dump money into the market to create some sort of illusion of stability. So the banks don't have the banks don't fail. Remember the bank failures, right? So that has something to do with the bond market. If this bond market continues lower, that puts these banks in a more vulnerable position. They're long all these bonds and they're taking the pain. That's what's going on. And these bonds start pushing lower, you're going to see problems. So I bring that up. That goes for everything, stocks, coins, whatever, especially highly speculative stocks. So going back to UNI, all right, going back to UNI, USDT. So with that being said, that's not an environment for potential, first of all. Right, so you can forget any kind of magical rallies anytime soon, and that goes for most garbage coins. Now, the second thing is you have a support at $4. So if you're interested in this thing, I would say this: don't bother with swing trades. Really, this is probably more of like an investment type thing. You're going to be in it for a while. If that's the case, because again, if you're going to swing trade, there are plenty of other coins to trade that are much better than something like this. I mean, these ranges are very small. So this is something that you accumulate and you hold on to over time if you believe in it. I don't believe most of these are garbage and most of these will go nowhere. All right, that's what I believe. These are not investment grade assets, but maybe you have some inside information. Maybe you just like the project. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. The point is, if you're going to do that, if you're going to accumulate, wait for these levels. Okay, there's a good chance these levels, that $4 area or below $4, gets revisited. That's your chance to buy some coins cheap and accumulate a small position, and then see how that goes. To continue to accumulate a position, you want to go small, right? And if the market goes to some ridiculously low price like $2 or $1.50, perhaps you put on a little more. But you have to have some sort of target allocation. Like, okay, this is how much money I want to put in total, and then you buy small bits a little at a time, so you average into it. Okay, but again, with a target allocation in mind. You don't say, well, I'm just going to keep putting money in until you can't do that, because it can go to zero, right? All these things, all these coins, they're not investment grade. They can go to zero. You must account for that. When this thing starts changing its tune, you should see resistances get taken out, $6 and $10. Okay. I know I spent a lot of time on Uni, but there's a lot to learn from that. All right, so that's pretty much your story there. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Now, let me just jump back over to Bitcoin real quick, all right, because I just want to address Miami's question here, Miami CEO. You asked me, how do I elaborate on why this is considered bullish structure and what has contributed to that? All right, and now the whole NASDAQ tie, that relationship with the NASDAQ goes in and out, right? So sometimes it's stronger than other times. I mean, we look at the NASDAQ, right? Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. This is, again, these are weekly charts we're looking at. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ, right? NASDAQ. The NASDAQ has been in ridiculous mode. But like I said, this a lot has to do with, I'd like to call it government manipulation with the Treasury Department, right? So you can't really go by this. Plus, there was a lot of hype with NVIDIA and AI and all that other retail nonsense garbage, right? And pretty much this is like NVIDIA driving this thing. When the party's over, as you can see, it's hesitating here. We get a pullback. That pullback can be steep. Now, Bitcoin at times can start doing its own thing. So I wouldn't rely on that relationship, especially when there's things like the SEC suing people and stuff like that, all that kind of drama going on. When you have that stuff, or the guy resigned or something, I don't know if that was true or not. Gensler resigned, or he was going to. I don't even know if that. I don't get caught up in that drama. The point is, Bitcoin can move around on a lot of that stuff, and the NASDAQ relationship is not really a one-to-one thing. So always keep that in mind. The relationship can change. So that answers that question. As far as the structure, you ask me here, how do I, how can I elaborate on what is considered bullish? Well, it's very simple. On the weekly chart, we have a higher low, okay? We have a higher low, and we have higher highs. There's nothing bearish about that. And this is, you can argue that this is basically a midterm trend, right? Our short-term trend would be going back a few months, maybe 3 months, something like that. That's a higher low into a resistance. That's bullish. Nothing bearish about it. So, and this general structure from this low, right? I see nothing but higher lows and higher highs. That's not bearish. So you can go back and say, well, if we zoom out and you go all the way back here, how is that bullish when this is bearish? Well, back here, yes, that was bearish, but you have to separate the trend into time categories. We have a short term, we have a midterm, and we have a long term, right? And how you use that information is going to depend on the type of trades you take. So for day trades and swing trades, those are short-term oriented. The only thing that's really going to matter is the short-term structure and short-term momentum, which is bullish. So you shouldn't be going bearish. Well, the bigger picture is bearish, so I'm just going to take this big short. Well, you're taking a lot of risk because this structure can persist longer, like the NASDAQ. It can pull one of those moves, and it doesn't matter, how insightful you think you are and all this other nonsense, or you have some inside information. It doesn't matter. The market's going to do what it wants to do. The market is not rational. You can't treat it like a rational thing. It's random. That is how you have to consider it. So no one knows where it will go. But the structure, if the structure is generally bullish, then I can lean toward the bullish side, and I can assume, or I can assign more probability to bullish events like breakout, support, hold, bullish reversals, and swing trades on the long side, where the short side is going to be much lower in terms of expectations and potential. Does that make sense? All right. So, yeah, let me know if you have any questions about that. All right, let me jump over to YouTube over here. Again, thank you guys for being patient. See, I see people cutting out over here. I told you guys should wait. All right. Let's go to, I saw a question about, where was it? Hold on. OPU from Alex. OPUSDT. Let's take a look. OPUSDT. What is that? Let's take a look here. Another altcoin. All right. Let's go to the weekly chart real quick. So here's the weekly situation. This is not a great looking chart considering where Bitcoin is going. I compare everything to Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the leader, like the S&P is a leader. So we have this support area, right? You've pulled back into this support area and it's fooling around here. Look at the current weekly candle. I mean, we have a whole week before that closes, but nice bearish pin bar. Bullish pin bar in a area of potential support right there, right? So you may have like a higher low developing, which may make this interesting for a potential swing trade. But keep in mind, Alex, you are dealing with this short-term structure, which is not bullish. That's bearish. And you have a lower high established right here, okay? So that's a resistance you're dealing with. So if you're thinking short-term, like a swing trade or something, or maybe day trades, this is basically the range you're fooling around with. And that's what you're going to measure. You're not going to be considering moves out here because that would be unreasonable. Does that make sense? So, I mean, so you have some support. You have a general short-term bearish trend. So keep that in mind. And then you can gauge from there. All right, let me know if you have any other questions about that. But if this candle closes like this, you have a whole week. If the candle closes like that, you will have yourself a buy signal. What does this thing look like on a daily chart? Let's just take a quick look and see what that's probably going to look the same, I would imagine, because today is Monday. Yeah. So bullish pin bar on the Monday candle. If you close like this today, you can have a swing trade idea potentially, or at least a day trade for something, right? At least up into this little area right there. Does that make sense? So you have some possibilities there, and this is a failed low situation. But keep in mind, even though it's a failed low, the general structure is not bullish. this would be much more compelling if the general trend looked like Bitcoin. Does that make sense? Okay. So, hey, Phil, how are you? Okay, Adobe. Let me see. I can get over and possibly more bank failures incoming. Well, again, the bond market is going to determine that. All right. All these banks are long bonds, and that's the problem. They're all got long bonds, and the bond situation, they're taking the pain in the bonds, figuring, and then on their balance sheets, they're putting, oh, the maturity of the bond is the value. But yeah, but the thing is you're in a losing situation, it's a losing trade, and they're not counting the P&L of where the bond is right now from their actual bond position, right? This is what the problem is. So the Treasury and the Federal Reserve are trying to coordinate so that they prevent this mess from continuing. But we'll see as the market gets, as the bonds get a little more funny looking here. All right, so Adobe. Now, Adobe, again, NASDAQ stock, look at this. That's a nice looking stock. This is a daily chart. I mean, this is a reflection of the NASDAQ right here. That's certainly bullish, and you have a higher low right there. So this thing is breaking out right now. Basically today, this broke out. Now, this is tricky. This would be better for a day trade, in my opinion. You don't want to be investing right now, especially with the bond market looking like that. So if you're thinking about Adobe as an investment, it's certainly not a garbage stock. I'm not going to call it that, but these are very tough levels to be investing, right? Let's just go to the weekly chart, because if you're thinking investing, oh, the stock looks safe up here. That's usually what people say. It's just getting started. You're buying some pretty bad prices as an investor. Look at this, right? Look where you're buying. Why would you want to buy in this area? Look where you are. Look at this, right? Why would you want to buy in this area when you had the opportunity to buy in this area, in these areas over here? Okay, never want to buy highs as an investor, unless you're going to take a very small bite and you don't mind taking pain, right? Because the risk is the highest, the higher it goes. But day trades, this thing is strong. So I would be looking for day trades on the long side if you're interested. As far as swing trades go, if you get involved in that, just keep in mind your risk, okay? I mean, I'm not completely opposed to the swing trade. You are breaking out. You just broke out today. The market's closed now. This thing's at 495. I mean, your risk can be defined by this swing low at 471. That's your risk. If you put your stop any tighter on a swing trade, you're most likely going to get stopped out on something like that. Can this thing run? Possibly. I mean, the high that you look in the test is 519. So you have to figure out the reward risk on that one. But the general structure is bullish. And, so if you're going to be doing anything, it's better to do it on the long side, just to understand the magnitude of risk on the higher time frames. Does that make sense? Okay, thanks for asking about Adobe. All right, let me see what else we have. And possibly, okay, oh, okay, cool, Dom. All right, no problem. So you got the right idea. Nice job. So yeah, I would definitely be working on the long side. When you're working with a stock like Adobe, keep the NASDAQ on your radar, because it's going to reflect the NASDAQ. It can do its own thing too, but if the NASDAQ sells off, for example, you're probably going to see some pain here. NASDAQ and S&P. You could use either one. All right. Okay, so let me see how much time I got. How much time do I have left? Okay. All right. So I got a few more minutes. Let's get into this. So, Sai, you're asking thoughts on Ethereum and ICP. That's a very good question. You know why? I believe Ethereum was one of the trades called, wasn't it? Let me see. Let me just go back. Let me go back to the trades that everyone put in the channel. You got DOT in there, bullish momentum on DOT, bearish momentum on Matic. I thought I saw like Ethereum in there. No Ethereum, you guys? The Litecoin. Oh, I got Litecoin. Okay, where's that Litecoin trade? That's the one I want to talk about. I'm just looking back here. So I'll address Ethereum. I don't see the Litecoin trade. You guys, okay, Raman or Steen or anyone, Alex, if you have access, can you just put can you share the Litecoin trade in the YouTube channel so I can go over that real quick? Well, I'm going to answer this question about Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is nothing really more than a reflection of Bitcoin, okay? So all the main coins, let me go back to my Ethereum situation over here. Let me find, where's my Ethereum? Actually, I don't need that. Hold on. Ethereum. And I'll just pull up my Coinbase chart. Thank you, Stian. There it is. Okay, on Litecoin okay, so you guys in my in the YouTube, they put the trade idea from the trade scanner. I'm going to share it on the screen here in a moment. First, let me just run through Ethereum. So check this out, right? Ethereum is going to be a reflection of Bitcoin. It's not exactly, but if Bitcoin rallies, Ethereum is most likely going to rally. The general structure on this chart is bullish, right? Just like Bitcoin, it had this consolidation area in here, right? See that? And it basically came out of that. This mini structure right here is very, very similar to that Bitcoin situation. So what do you do with this anyway? Well, you don't want to chase it, okay? This move, there's a move here. This move is in play. Now, let me just talk about the move. You have this candle right here. These two little candles, those are inside bars. One is a pin bar. The other one is just like a doji situation, spinning top, whatever you want to call that. I think it's more of a doji. Point is, these are inside bars, all right? And inside bars, generally, you have a general bullish structure, higher lows. This is a buy signal. This is like the kind of thing I would call manually. And the buy signal was actually in play at 1879. Okay. Oh, thank you. Who put the Ethereum one on there? Thank you. I thought I saw it. So look at this here. I'm going to put this on the chart since I'm talking about it. Thank you, Alex, because you asked about Ethereum. That is what the trade scanner called. All right. At 1871, it called this on the 7th, 3 days ago. Right. And where was that? That was on the inside bar area. When was the 7th? Okay. Right here. Friday. Right here. Okay. This is where the trade scanner called it long. Bullish momentum reversal. And you can see that the nice payoff on that. That thing's right now at 1904. Okay, call that at 1871. You do the math. The point is, if you missed that, the next trade would have been around 1879, which would have been here. Okay. So you don't want to chase this thing. You don't want to be buying this thing now. If you missed it, you missed it. Or if you want to look for day trades after that, you have to wait for a setup. Right? You can go to a 4-hour chart possibly, but again, you don't want to be chasing this. So what to do here? Well, you have to wait now, okay? If you're not in this, you want to wait for supports to be tested again, some kind of new support. Don't chase it. If you're long, you're looking for these levels up here if you're manually managing this thing, or you can use the ATR to predetermine your levels and get a tighter level based on the 4-hour time frame. But this is your general take profit potential area up in here, okay, which is what, 1976. So around that 2000 area, which is the whole number. It makes sense that people are selling up in that area. I mean, look at the history. Okay, look at this, right? Look at all these candle wicks. Look at this, right? People sell there. There's a lot of selling activity taking place there. So you definitely don't want to be buying there. All right, you want to be taking money off the table. So please keep that in mind. But this, again, is a follower of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin fails, this will fail. If Bitcoin continues higher, this will continue. So please keep that in mind as well. All right, but the main point is you have higher lows. Higher high is favored. Okay, higher high is favored. We have to see if it delivers or not. But do not take this now. The risk is too high. Whether it's a day trade or a swing trade, I believe the risk is too high. Anything else like position trade or investment, why would you do that here? Right? These aren't investing levels anyway, especially in light of where Bitcoin is fooling around a resistance and in light of interest rates. These are just generally not good times to invest. If you want to invest, you're like, well, there's always a good time to invest. If you want to, that's true, right? You can invest anytime. You just manage your size, right? Small. These are not times to invest big. If anyone tells you that, they're lying. They just don't know what they're talking about. All right. So that's Ethereum. Thank you so much, Alex, for the Ethereum trade. All right, so let me just see if I have any other quick questions. Speaking of investing, I would invest pocket money in some new coins that have started to break resistances. I would avoid the old coins. That's a good point, Alex, because the old coins, most likely, if there's another bull run at some point, right, the ones that are probably going to have all the potential are the new coins, not the old coins. The old coins are just old news. So what, they're going to have to rehype them? The hype machine is probably going to focus on the new coins, and all the mindless morons that buy these things are probably going to focus on the new coins. That's a very good point. So if you're going to do it, yes, I would say focus more on new coins with new ideas rather than old ideas that are still, they've been unable to prove or show any traction. Where new ideas, again, it's all speculation. It's all hope, right? That's the way you have to look at it. So that makes sense. Steve, hey, how are you? Okay, Suzanne, APLD. All right, hold on. I gotta go over the trade idea here. do you see CCL stock going to 37.50 in 6 to 12 months? Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, guys, hit that boost button. Do me a favor, like Steve just pressed it. All right, cool. All right, so real quick. Oh, again with this. Hold on, you guys. This thing's giving me a hard time today. What's up with that? All right. Check gold. All right. All right. So here's the thing. I want to keep checking these things, but I only have a couple minutes. So if I missed your question, I apologize. I have to go over this trade idea because I told people if they stuck around for the stream, I would show it. So here it is. All right, guys. If I missed it, come back next week or come to the community. Right. If you're not a member, join it. It's free. Right. My Discord community. There's a link in the description. Come there. Ask the question there or send me a private message, and I can answer your question there as well. All right. So Raman shared this here. This is, again, from the trade scanner, and this came out today. All right. Earlier today, Litecoin long 95.03, looking for longs. So let's just do this real quick, step by step. And let me pull out my ATR because this is where the ATR really shines. So we're going to go to Litecoin. All right. Now I'm showing you, this is a complementary trade idea, guys, right from the trade scanner. And this is what my members have access to all the time. And they've had some nice trades off of this. So this is Litecoin. This is where it's calling it long. When you get a notification like this, what you do is you go to the 4-hour chart. That is the first thing you do. Okay. And now we're going to look at some things here. Now it called it long, I'm assuming at least 4 to 8 hours ago. I'm assuming it's here. What's the price on that thing? Let's see, 95.03. What are we at right now? We're at 97.32. So this trade is kind of on its way, right? So we missed it. But I'm going to put the order together anyway so that you guys know. And what I recommend you do from here is paper trade this thing. Even from this current price, right? 97.28. Use that as your reference price. Paper trade this thing to see the outcome. Now, here's the thing. Let's say you have the trade scanner and you say, oh, okay, 95.03. What do you do now? Do you just jump in? Where do you put the stop? Where do you put the take profit? Well, that's what I'm going to show you. So let's first put 95.03 on the chart. Okay. No, you know what? In fact, let's be fair and let's just put it where we are now. Let's say it called it now, although that's, it's called it at a much better price. So $2 worse. Okay. Let's say we're buying this thing right now. Do this on paper. Don't do this with real money. Now, I'm looking at my ATR, and I'm looking at the ATR right now. What does the ATR say for this? Anyone want to? Actually, you guys may not be able to see that very well. Anyone want to tell me? I think, is it covering it? No, you can see it. What is the ATR for this right now? What is the ATR? Anyone want to tell me real quick? What is the average true range of this thing right now? All right, as you guys are typing it, I'm going to tell you. It's $2. Okay, on the 4-hour time frame. That's $2. I don't have to round that number, by the way. It's a nice, even, whole number. So $2 is my ATR. So what do I do? First, I want to generate my risk, right? That's step one. So on the 4-hour chart, I'm going to multiply it by 2. Now, you see, my ATR says 2. What is this thing right now? All right, it's 2 even. That's what it's showing me right now, 2 even. So I don't have to round. I usually instruct my members to round if it's like a weird number, like 159, round to 2, that kind of, and always round higher. But we're at 2, so I don't have to round. Okay, you don't have to round. It's just to make the math easier. And by the way, Stian is he's testing a robot to track the performance of the scanner automatically on a Google sheet. So once he's happy with that, and Stian, I'm going to get back to you on that website that you gave me. But once I have that together, I'll be able to share a link with you guys, and you guys will be able to see the performance of these trades over time using the ATR to place the stop and the take profit. All right, he programmed all that in there. Thank you so much, Stian, for that. You have no idea how helpful that is. He's still testing it, but I want to let you guys know. Big thank you to Stian. All right, so let's say right here, right? We're going to say 97.44. Okay, that's the current price. We'll just say 97.40. All right, that's going to be the entry price. So the reason why that's so important. Okay, let me just make this bigger here. The reason why that's so important is because I need to determine my stop and my take profit using the ATR without having to do any analysis. The robot's done the analysis. It's calling it a long. So I don't want to waste any time, right? So the ATR is $2. Step one, I multiply that times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. So my risk is $4. So I subtract $4 from 97.40. Let's just say 97.50, right, to make the numbers easier. So that puts me at what? 93.50. So my stop should be around here, okay, based on that. Now, keep in mind, reality, actually, the scanner called a better price, but based on this, that's where we're going to put the stop, okay? And the take profit, since we're using a 4-hour chart, we're going to multiply that number times 3. So 2, which is the ATR, times 3 is 6. So I'm going to put this take profit 6 points higher than the entry. So 97.50 plus 6 is what? 103? 103.50? Okay. So that's where my take profit should go. Okay. This right here is a 1.5 to 1 reward risk, is what that is. Okay. Automatically. So that is using the ATR method that I talk about, right? That's what I have this thing on here for. I have a proportional way to determine these orders without having to fumble around. Oh, should I put it here? Should I put it there? It's a 1.5 to 1 reward risk. And this is a bad entry price. This is not a good entry price. The trade scanner called this earlier, $2 lower, okay? Which actually means the probability of this trade is actually better than what I'm showing you here, because this thing's $2 in the money right now, okay? If you had taken it from the notification price, all right? And if you have not, let's see, what's the high? If you waited, let's see, what's the high of this candle right here? 97.20. What is that? 97.20, right? So 97.20 would have been another price. And this one is still 95.03. Man, that's like all the way over here. So 95.71. I mean, basically, if you don't take the notification price, what I suggest is you wait for the close of the candle and take the break of the high. This line that I just drew here, that's that price. All right, so that's 95.71, which is still worse than the notification price. But you get the idea of how that works? That's how you use the trade scanner. So the trade scanner has done all the work. So I want you guys to write those levels, put it on paper, take the trade on paper, and then next week when we meet, let's see how this trade played out. I don't know if this trade will be a winner or not. That's why. And also, this trade is working against us because we're getting in $2 after the fact. Okay, people that got in at the notification price have a $2 head start on us. All right. So, but this is a learning exercise. All right, you guys got that? So that's why I wanted to run that by you guys, so you see firsthand how I use that trade scanner, how it was meant to be used. All right, and that's basically a swing trade. If we were going to work with a day trade, we would change the magnitude a bit. We would go to a smaller time frame, and we'd be working with a smaller magnitude ATR. I'm not going to get into all that right now. That can be confusing. So let's just start, one step at a time here, and we'll see how this thing goes. All right, so you guys clear? Any questions real quick? All right, so guys, thanks for sticking around. Let me just see if I have any questions. All right, what's a good profit taking zone on each? It's happening now. Well, use a Miami, use the BTC chart for your profit reference and look at the resistance. Okay, I can't get into all the details on that. Come into the chat, and ask me there. 3% up from that. Yeah, I mean we missed the trade, but I just want to put some sort of example out there so we have something to measure, right? And we have something that we can look at for next week, and we can see if the trade is a winner, we'll review it. If the trade is not a winner, we'll review that too, because we'll talk about if there was any potential break-even point or how the trade could have been managed. That's really how you learn how to trade, not big wins, as you guys know. All right, you guys. Hey, cool. Hey, how are you, Han? All right, no problem. All right, yeah, we went over a lot of stuff here today. So, guys, please, the old pattern should not deviate from taking the right trade when I enter the. Well, it's the same patterns. It's just smaller. It's just the expectations are smaller. That's like the key thing, right? Smaller expectations. So you have to know how to put that into context, basically. But the patterns, all that stuff is the same. Okay. I think I got your question here. Yeah. The patterns, it's the magnitude of the pattern, right? If it's like a double bottom, failed low, whatever, That doesn't change. It's the expectation from the time frame that changes. That's what changes. So I can't get, that's a lot of detail. I can't get into all that here. All right, you guys. So again, if you're not familiar with my trade scanner or you want to learn about that, click in the link in the description. There's plenty of links in the descriptions on both of the sites here. Click on that. Join my Discord community. It's free. You can reach out to me there as well. I have a lot, we can, if you have any questions, I can answer them there as well. And check that stuff out. Okay, if you want to become a member, there's all that information there. And let me tell you, a lot of these people here are members. And one thing that I hear from members all the time, they say, I wish I found you years earlier. I would have saved myself thousands of dollars. A lot of these guys say that. I hear it over and over. And it's true. When I tell them is, well, when you were a beginner, you probably would not have appreciated what I was saying, because beginners are always focused on the wrong things. So if you guys want to get like the right, get set on the right path early, let me know and we can talk. Okay, you guys. So, hey, thank you for your time here today. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you very much.